Now in this section we're going to be talking about multiplying whole numbers. Now we've already talked about addition in a previous section, but we need to see how addition and multiplication are related. So here we have a picture of some bicyclists, and it looks like there are four columns of bicycles, and each column has 3 bicyclists in it. So if you were going to add these up, you could say, well, we've got 3 of these, plus 3 of these, plus 3 of these, plus 3 of these would equal 12 bicyclists. Or we could also say that we have 3 4 times. 4 times 3, which is also 12. Saying 4 times 3 is the exact same thing as saying add 3 to itself 4 times. Multiplication is nothing more than just repeated addition. That's what it is. Now there are different ways to write multiplication, and you should be familiar with each one. At first, we're probably going to see things like this, where we have 2 and then, the multiplication symbol being that little x. So 2 times 3, or sometimes you can see it with just a dot in between them. So that little tiny dot, it's not, at the bottom here would be a decimal point, but it's in the middle. So whenever you see that, means multiplication also. Or if we just see parentheses, this is another way of writing multiplication. Or we could have both of those in parentheses, and again that means multiplication. So you really need to be familiar with what multiplication looks like in all of its different forms, because it could be presented to you several different ways. We also have terminology when it comes to multiplication. Here we have 2 times 3 equals 6, which we know to be true. The 2 and the 3 are both called factors. So factors are the things that you multiply together. The answer is called the product. That's very important. Factors are going to be things that you hear over and over and over again throughout your mathematics career. So you really need to understand what they are. That factors are just two things that are multiplied together. Now, because multiplication is just repeated addition, you remember we had those properties for addition where we said that addition, we can add things in any order we want to, or we could regroup them. That was the commutative and the associative properties of addition. Well, if multiplication is just repeated addition, then those same rules should work for multiplication also, and they do. We have the commutative property of multiplication, which is very, very similar to the addition property. You can multiply things in any order you want to, and you get the same thing. 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2. So again, think of commuting, home to work, work to home. The order actually changes. We also have the associative property of multiplication, meaning you can reassociate those factors and it still is the same thing. So very similar to what we did with addition. Parentheses means we do this first. So if we were to multiply 2 times 3, we would get 6 times 4, which would be 24. Now, what if we did it in a different way? You notice that these are in the exact same order, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. We're just reassociating these. So 3 times 4 would be 12, and then if I were to multiply that to 2, we would get 24. Those are the exact same thing. Okay.